Hey, ronnierokksmith here with USA Digi, and in this video I'm going to tell you guys about something called Anchor.fm. Before we get started in this podcasting video, if this is your first time here, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and go ahead and click the notification bell so you can get notified when I post brand new videos just like this one. So it's a podcasting platform, okay? And there's very cool things about it that I really like. So number one is when I started my podcast way back then, about a year and a half ago, I created one episode and I had another one in the works, okay? The thing was I was learning about how to upload podcasts to iTunes and how to do it in the best way possible to have some nice graphics, to make sure the podcast was recorded well and all of this stuff, to make sure that it would be successful. However, I never got around to uploading that episode because I just had to learn so much to do it. So it was kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna put this on the back burner for now and just continue doing my marketing stuff. So that's what I ended up doing, and I got inspired by even creating a podcast from Russell Brunson. Okay, he had a podcast called Marketing in Your Car, if you heard about that podcast. And it's kind of like after he bought Marketing Secrets, he changed it to that. And he was happy about that because he had finally got to get that domain name. So yeah, that's how that transitioned. But what got me really into wanting to do podcasts is he was, in one of his episodes, he was talking about one of his friends that was making, I'm not sure on this, so don't quote me on the accuracy, I think he said 15 to 30,000 per month in his podcast because he was getting a lot of sponsorships in there. Now that might be the wrong figure, so don't quote me like I said on that. But it was a high enough figure that really made me to take notice and say, hey, I want to start doing this as well, right? So it was pretty cool. And so I just recently learned about this platform here, Anchor.fm, from one of my friends. Cam Jennings, aka Cam Fats. So he's on YouTube and Facebook and everywhere. He's a marketer as well, like me, and he also has a lot of experience and knowledge in the marketing industry. So that's how I learned about this platform, from him. And once I found out about it, I was like, oh man, this is so much easier. Back then it was a little more difficult. There's a bunch of things you had to do. You had to wait to get approved by iTunes and all kind of other crap. It was a pain in the ass. It's so much easier. You just create a graphic. Well, you don't do it inside of Anchor, of course, but you could do that like inside of Canva or something like that, another free application. And then you bring in your podcasting image, drop that in here, upload your first episode. There's even tools in here that allows you to record straight into the platform, which is really cool. So let's take a look at it right now. Okay, so we're on the Anchor dashboard here. You can see I have one episode up, and here is my graphic. I created this. Actually, I created this in Photoshop, but I brought it into Canva to do some changes here and there. So you could create this inside of Canva as well. It's not hard, and it's a free program. Canva.com, C-A-N-V-A. Check that out too. So here's some of the things that I like about Anchor FM, this podcasting platform. So look, you see a money tab here. Hey, that's interesting. So you can actually make money with your podcast. So that's cool. So let's check that out. Okay. So as you can see, you want to set up everything, guys, in here. Make sure you go to the settings tab, set up your payment processor. So you can see I'm using Stripe here. So I had to connect my Stripe account. If you don't have one, it's free. It's something like PayPal. You can go ahead and sign up for that. I think there's something else in here you can use as well. But I don't recall what it was. Okay, so let's see how we get paid here. So what you're gonna do, you're not gonna see this. As you can see, I recorded my sponsorship for Anchor here. So when you first log into here and you go to your money and all this and you get it all set up, you're gonna see a script in here and you're gonna see a record button. And don't worry if you messed up, you're gonna be able to re-record it if you don't like the first version that you did. And that's really cool. So you can do unlimited recordings. Then when you're happy with your recording, just press submit or whatever. Then they're gonna approve it, okay? And once they approve it, it's gonna show up like this. Okay, once it shows up in here on the sponsorships, you can go ahead and add this whenever you do a new episode. Okay, when you click this button here and add new episode, which I'll show you in a second, you can add this sponsorship in there. Okay, so let's talk about this here. How are you going to get paid? $15 per CPM. So what does CPM mean, guys? So if you don't know what that means, you can Google it, but I'm going to go over it with you right here. So basically it just means every 1,000 impressions, you're going to get 15 bucks. In this case, it's not impressions, it's going to be listens. So basically you need 1,000 people to listen to, I don't think the whole episode, because, well, in this case for Anchor, the ad is actually going to be anywhere you want it to be except for the end. So you can put this at the beginning, which I think you have to put this one at the beginning. But when you read the scripts that come in here, it'll show you tips and advice or whatever. You look in there, make sure you read every single thing. It's going to tell you that most of these will require to be in the middle of your podcast, okay? And the way that you do that, whenever you create a new episode here, so here's how you record. Okay, so you can do this in different ways. You can actually record straight from your computer here, or you can pre-record it like the way that I do. I do it in a vocal booth where the sound is really, really good, and then I mix it and master it, and then I upload here by dropping my file. But if you don't have all the software and all the stuff like I do, simply just record it straight in here. What I would recommend for using as a recording device, or microphone rather, I use the Blue Yeti, and it has an amazing sound, guys. It's a USB microphone, connects to your computer, has an amazing sound. The only thing that I recommend for that is it comes with a stand that mounts on the desk. I don't recommend using that stand, guys. Get yourself a boom arm, because when it's sitting on the desk, any little bump or anything that you touch, whatever, it's gonna pick up that sound, that boomy vibration, and it's gonna be distracting. So if you get it up on a boom arm, just make sure that boom arm supports the weight of the Yeti microphone, because some cheaper ones, it just won't hold it up, okay? So keep that in mind. So you want to spend a little bit of money on a decent boom arm, okay? But that's going to raise it above the desk where you don't have to worry about all those sounds, and it's going to sound really, really good. Okay, so that's that. As far as the ads, so as soon as you bring in your clip here, you're going to see the little thing pop up. So I'm just going to go into the library here, and you can see that's what all of your things are going to be. I'm not going to drag this over here because this is already an episode. But if you come down here to transitions, you can see some little different sounds. I'm not going to click these because I don't know, I can't hear them, and only you will, because of the way that I got this set up. I don't have headphones on, so I can't hear the audio. But what I'm gonna do is just, this one's 1 second, so I'm just gonna grab this right here, and it says add to episode. So now you can see it says add a sponsored segment. Now you can't pick what segment you want. I think Anchor automatically assigns it for you based upon the episode or whatever. Since I only have one in here right now, it's going to be the Anchor one. So that needs to go in the front, right? What you want to do though when you're doing this recordings, guys, is you want to, whenever you record this, you want to make it to where it's part of your podcast and not really distracting, or, you know, you don't want it to sound too different. So what I like to do, or what I'm going to be doing in the future here, is use these little sounds before and after the segment. So people, once they start listening to my podcast, they're gonna know that, okay, an ad's coming up. You know, bing, 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 whatever sound I use in here, they're gonna know that an ad's coming up. And then when it goes away, bing, bing, bing. Or what I seen another video from the creator of this platform, what they recommended doing is they said that sometimes your ads finish, so they're no longer available. So if you was to do this inside your podcast, like stay tuned, like they said, don't do this, like don't say like stay tuned from a sponsorship from such and such. Like you don't want to say that. For instance, here's a brief word from our sponsor. If you say that, then if that sponsor was in that placement and there's no more in your list to put in there, if there's no in there, if you say here's a brief word from our sponsor and then nothing plays, your listener's going to be like confused, right? So it makes sense that you don't want to do something like that. So what they recommend doing is say, we'll be right back. or say something like that, to where when the ad comes in, if you say we'll be right back and then no ad plays and then you start talking again, it won't sound as bad or confusing to the listener. So just something to keep in mind right there with that. So that's pretty much how it works, guys. You just drag your sponsors how you want them. Another little tip I'm going to give you is if you're going to be recording straight into the system and you can't, like splice it, because like I said, most ads are going to go in between those two clips, and there is a splitting option in here. I never used it yet. What I do is I record, using Adobe Premiere, and so what I do is I'll split my tracks there and just name them part 1 and part 2, and that way when I bring them in here, I can easily add in the sponsor segment between those two clips. However, you can do that in here by recording just one part and then stopping it and then recording the second half. So it's up to you how you can do it, or what kind of a recording equipment you have to do it with, right? So these messages here, so people can actually, if I go to my dashboard here, people can actually, let me see, I want to go to my episode. Okay, public site. Here we go. So what people can actually do, like listeners, they can come here and send you a voice message, right? And start recording. So this is also kind of how your script thing is going to look. You're going to have a start recording now button and you record it. You can choose the microphone you're using. As you can see, I'm using the Yeti mic here. And that's how it works, guys. It's pretty cool. So basically what these messages are is you're just sending out shout outs to that person that created the podcast. Hey man, I really liked your, what you talked about in this episode about this and that. Something like that, right? And just keep it under 60 seconds because you have a time limit. It's 60 seconds or less, I think, with these. So yeah, you just shout out to the person and leave them some good comments or whatever, and that's how that works. And what happens is once they get these messages, let's go back to episodes over here, new episode. So it's gonna be in here, right? And you can actually grab these and drag them into your episode, and you could say something like, because you could just use them in various different places, but you could just say, here's what some of the listeners are saying about our podcast. Boop. You know what I'm saying? And you just drag them in there. So it's kind of like having testimonials basically in your podcast from listeners. That's going to entice other listeners to keep listening, right? So it's pretty cool. There's a lot of cool little features in here. So that's about it. That's the Anchor platform, guys. I hope you go over here to anchor.fm, sign up for your free account and start using it. Start building your brand awareness and start making some money as well. Okay? And if you found this video helpful to help you start creating your own podcast today, go ahead and leave me some comments below on what you thought about it.